Hello boys and girls, this is the All About Fractions Part 2 video. In this video you will go ahead and learn about fraction number line, decompose, compose fractions, compare fractions, equivalent fractions, whole number fractions, and there also will be task cards to do at the end. Let's get started. Fraction number line. How can we use a number line to locate fractions? Go ahead and draw a number line and have 0 at one end and the number 1 at the other. This is how we show 1/3 on a number line. To go ahead and draw 1/3 on a number line, you're going to go ahead and look at the denominator, which is 3. So we need a total of 3 pieces, which means I'm going to make 2 hatch marks on my number line and draw 3 rectangles. And then I'm going to go ahead and color in 1 rectangle because the numerator says 1/3. And this is how 1/3 looks like on a number line. This is how we show 2/4 on a number line. To go ahead and draw 2/4 on a number line, I first will look at the denominator, which is 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 hatch marks on my number line. I then will make 4 rectangles. And since the fraction is 2/4, I will shade in 2 rectangles. And this is how we show 2/4 on a number line. This is how we show 3/6 on a number line. To go ahead and draw 3/6 on a number line, you first look at the denominator, which is 6, and I'm going to go ahead and draw 5 hatch marks on my number line. I then will make 6 rectangles, and the fraction is 3/6, so I'm going to go ahead and shade in 3 of my rectangles. And this is how you show 3/6 on a number line. Can you show 2/5 on a number line? Comparing fractions. How can we use the greater than, less than, or equal to sign to compare fractions? Here we have the example 1/3 and 2/3. A great way to go ahead and solve is by drawing. We're going to go ahead and do the example 1/3 is greater than, less than, or equal to 2/3. The first thing you're going to do is write out the equation. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw our fractions. 1/3, I draw my square and my 2 lines, and I shade in 1 part, and I label that 1/3. Next, I draw my 2/3, and I'm going to go ahead and color in 2 parts to show that it's 2/3. And each part is 1/3, so you want to make sure to write 1/3 in each of the rectangles. We can easily see that 1/3 is less than 2/3. We clearly see that 1/3 is less than 2/3. Let's try this example. Is 2/4 greater than, less than, or equal to 1/4? So we're going to go ahead and draw out our fractions. So for 2/4, I make my square and I draw in my 3 lines. I'm going to shade in 2 parts. And for the 1/4, I'm going to draw my square and draw my 3 lines and shade in one part. And you can clearly see 2/4 is greater than 1/4. What if there are different denominators? How can we go ahead and compare? Here's a little hint. If two fractions have different denominators, the smaller the denominator, the larger the pieces. Let's take a look. Here you have 1/4. So I drew my shape, 4 pieces, shaded 1, that's 1/4. Here I have 1/2. I only need 2 parts, and I shade in 1 part. Which one is bigger, 1/4 or 1/2? Yes, you're correct. This is bigger. So 1/4 is less than 1/2. So to draw this, you first look at the denominators and you notice that it's different, but that's okay. We're still going to draw out our fractions. So you're going to go ahead and make your square, 3 lines, shade in 1/4. Same thing, draw out your square, make 1 line, and shade in 1/2 of it. So our answer is 1/4 is less than 1/2. Is 2/3 greater than, less than, or equal to 1/4? Again, you're going to draw out your shape. 2/3, I have my 3 parts. 2 are shaded in. 1/4, I have my 4 parts. 1 is shaded in. 2/3 is greater than 1/4. If you wanted to try drawing this out, we're going to go ahead and start off by drawing our square, 2 lines to represent the 3 pieces, and we're going to shade in 2 pieces. Same thing with 1/4, you're going to draw your square, and this time you're going to draw 3 lines to have 4 pieces and shade in just 1 piece. Equivalent fractions. Equivalent means equal. Equivalent fractions are equal, but have different numerators and denominators. Here's an example. I have 1/2. I go ahead and draw my 2 parts. 1 is shaded in. Now if you look over here, 2/4. For 2/4, I went ahead and I cut it into 4 pieces, and I shaded in 2, and you can see it's the same. So they are equal. 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Are these two fractions equivalent? Make sure to look carefully. Yes, they are. 3/6 is equal to 4/8 because it's the half of a circle. Do you think 1/2 is also equivalent to these two? What other fraction is equivalent to these two fractions? Another way to check if fractions are equivalent is cross multiplication. This is also known as a butterfly method. You basically go ahead and multiply this side. So 6 times 4 is 24. And if we go ahead and multiply this side, 8 times 3, if that also equals 24, that means both fractions are equal. So they are equivalent. So if it does not equal the same number, they are not equivalent. Are these two fractions equivalent? No, they are not. 1/4 is not equal to 4/8. Are these two fractions equivalent? 4/6 or 2/3? Yes, 4/6 is equal to 2/3. We have 4/6, we have 2/3, and they are equal to each other. Decomposing fractions. Break unit fractions apart. And have a hammer here, so I'm breaking this fraction down. 3/5. How do you break that down? This little square is a unit fraction, and that is 1/5. This little square is also 1/5. This little square is 1/5. So to break down 3/5, it is 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. Composing fractions. Put unit fractions together. I also like to add a little glue here to help you understand. Composing fractions. Put unit fractions together. Put means you are gluing them back together. Therefore, I have a little glue here. So how do you glue back 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5? You first add all of the numerators. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And if all of them have the same denominator, the denominator stays the same. So 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 equals 3/5. Let's go ahead and talk about decomposing and composing fractions. Decomposing fractions. Break unit fractions apart. Composing fractions. Put unit fractions together. Let's take a closer look. Let's go ahead and do the example 3/5. So I have 5 squares. I'm going to go ahead and shade in 3 of them. And I am decomposing this fraction, which means I am breaking it apart. So it actually is 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. So you're going to draw 1/5. Let's go ahead and do the example 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And the denominator 5 stays the same. So the answer is 3/5. In my next example, I'm going to go ahead and draw the fraction 4/6. And I'm going to go ahead and decompose this fraction. So it's 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. Here I'm going to go ahead and compose the fraction. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. Go ahead and try these two examples. Make sure to compose and decompose. Now let's go ahead and look at whole number fractions. How can we write some fractions as a whole number? Some fractions can be written as a whole number. For example, 4/4 can be written as 1 because one whole circle is shaded in. In this example, all of the pieces are shaded in. Therefore, we're calling it a whole number. In this example, 2/2, we have one whole circle shaded in, and there are no uncolored parts left. So 2/2 equals 1. In this example, 8/8, or 8/8, equals 1. Now let's go ahead and look at how we can write fractions as a whole number using a number line. The fraction 3/3 is also written as the number 1. So in this number line, we start with 0. We have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, but we also can write 1. The fraction 5/5 is also written as number 1. Here we have 0, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, and we also could write a whole number 1. Now it's time for some task cards. Enjoy.